Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Joy News Desk. My name is Kenneth Jesse. And coming up this morning, Majority Leader Mahama Yarga and Majority Whip Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo draft bill to abolish office of the Special Prosecutor. We have details as President Mahama rejects calls to scrap office of the Special Prosecutor, describing it as premature.
So I think we should give them a little time. Of course, people want to see, more prosecutions and more results. And so I'll just urge the OSP to speed up, some of these investigations. And
This morning, former Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia says government is undermining Ghana's institutions of democracy in ongoing Pandai seat brouhaha.
Very, very disappointed in what is going on in our country. It looks like our institutions of democracy and our tenets of democracy are being undermined.
We've got more as the Electoral Commission sets December 30th to rerun the elections. 5 individuals filed petition to prevent release of late High Life legend Daddy Lumba's body for burial. You want to stick and stay with us for the details of these and many other stories in the next 1 hour. Don't go anywhere. Hello again, and this morning, Majority Leader Mahama Yarga and his Chief Whip, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo, have drafted a private member's bill to repeal the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act and abolish the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The draft bill is yet to be presented to Parliament, and closely related to this is a suit by a private citizen at the Supreme Court challenging the constitutionality of Parliament's decision to abolish the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And all this, of course, is happening at a time when President John Mahama has indicated that it is too early for anyone to call for the abolishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, insisting the institution still holds an important role in Ghana's anti-corruption framework. We'll hear from the president in a bit, but first, let's run you through what the private members' bill by Mahama Yarga and Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo says. Right, and as I've mentioned earlier, the Majority Chief Whip and his Majority Leader are saying that they are not happy with the way the Office of the Special Prosecutor is operating, and portions of their draft bill says the OSP was established in 2017 as a specialized independent body to focus on corruption and corruption-related offenses. However, operational experience since the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor have revealed persistent challenges, including the duplication of constitutional prosecutorial functions of the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Attorney General, institutional friction and jurisdictional overlap resulting in delays and inefficiencies. Other challenges include high operational costs at the Office of the Special Prosecutor with limited demonstrable impact relative to budgetary allocations, fragmentation of national prosecutorial policy and strategy, and challenges in sustaining long-term institutional capacity due to parallel administrative infrastructure. The bill therefore seeks to consolidate the prosecution of corruption and its related offenses under the constitutional mandate of the Attorney General in order to enhance efficiency, accountability, coordination, and prudent use of public resources. That's what the bill, portions of it, from the Majority Chief Whip and his leader are saying. Let's now listen to President John Dramani Mahama, who, during a courtesy visit by the National Peace Council, urged that the OSP be given more time to operate, while also encouraging the OSP to accelerate some of its investigations and demonstrate its continued relevance to the public.
I do enjoy prosecuting people, but the people of Ghana will not forgive us if people develop impunity in terms of abusing the trust that people have put in them. And so that's why we're resourcing the Economic and Organized Crime Office and the other anti-corruption institutions, including the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And recently, there have been some controversy with the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I think it's premature to call for the closure of that office. The unique thing about that office is It is the only anti-corruption agency that has prosecutorial powers to be able to prosecute themselves without going through the Attorney General. And so people had mistrust for the Attorney General because the Attorney General normally is a member of government and is a minister of state. And so they believe that the Attorney General will be very reluctant to prosecute his own. But if there's an independent office like the Office of the Special Prosecutor, it won't matter who you are, because they have security of tenure and they have prosecutorial powers, whether you're a member of government or you're a member of a previous government or you are anybody who has, misappropriated public funds. They have the law is behind them to be able to prosecute you. So I think we should give them a little time. Of course, people want to see, more prosecutions and more results. And so I'll just urge the OSP to speed up, some of these investigations and, show people that the office is still very relevant.
Let's speak to the chairman of the African Union Advisory Board on Corruption, Edem Sananu, who is joining us on Zoom for more. Edem, grateful for your time this morning. This draft bill has been a long time coming. Of course, the first time that the majority leader hinted of his displeasure of the Office of the Special Prosecutor was sometime last week or two when lawyer Martin Pegbu was detained by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. What do you make of this new private members bill that the leaders of the House on the majority side want the Office of the Special Prosecutor repealed?
Well, thank you, and good morning to your viewers. I doubt that approach would have the majority support of the citizens of this nation. We can't repeat the mistakes of the past, and we need to learn from history. By 2017, and if you refer to the Hansard discussions on the necessity of the OSP, we'd been having the discussion since independence, since 1957, from the time of Jeffrey Byng as the Attorney General, and all the difficulties with the Attorney General of the day holding accountable their peers in government, and learning from other jurisdictions, because we are not the only country that has gone through this. The best practice now is to have a separate office that takes on board these issues so that they are independent enough, not connected in a manner that could influence their decisions and objectivity. So yes, at least in terms of consistency, the majority leader also, even at the time of 2017, was of the same opinion. So that's nothing new. But the rest of them, including the speaker, if you go and look at the records, right, they fully supported the need for a special prosecutor's office. So I don't think that this particular repeal bill, has the support of the majority of Ghanaians.
Well, that's quite interesting, though, because the speaker also during that parliamentary sitting also concurred with the majority leader, saying that he sees no relevance of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, also seeming to endorse its abolishment.
That was surprising, and I think he should be gently reminded to go to his own comments in 2017. Together with the majority of reps of the people. And again, it was a bit perplexing because Parliament, above all other institutions, has had the privilege of annually having the Special Prosecutor Office come and defend the budget. Each year they've had to come and explain what they did with the previous budget and what they are going to do with the new budget. And even in this year, some parliamentarians during the process observed that the allocation had been slashed and said that that office needed more. They should go and check their own Hansard. So it was just confusing how they seem to very easily change roles, very inconsistent. And the one thing you can say is whenever there's been bipartisan agreement in Parliament, all of us need to look closely because it seems to be only when something appears to affect them personally, not necessarily the public good. So this again seems to be a situation where the signal is that our political leaders don't want to embrace accountability. And again, they are more interested in perhaps private interest than public goods. So that's worrying. That's very worrying.
They state in their draft bill that there's more money given to the Office of the Special Prosecutor with little results to show for. And also, they're saying that it's a duplication of work. They say what the Office of the Special Prosecutor is doing can equally be done by the Attorney General's department. Don't they have any case in that?
No, they don't. First of all, let's take the argument that there's more money given to them than other agencies. Which agencies are they comparing with? The AGs that is over 100 years old, that already has established infrastructure and systems all across the country? Are they comparing it with the FICs who are probably the most youngest, that are 18 years plus, or the others that are 30 years plus, that already have the infrastructure in place? This is an institution now being built. They first got the building in 2022, got the full complement of 249 staff in November, December 2023. To all extents and purposes, they've been working for the last 2 years. So how do you say they have more money with no results? No results, really? 71 cases being investigated, 33 cases in court, 7 convictions so far, $2 million retrieved, 5.7 billion Ghana cedis saved. What are they talking about? And they are the institution that knows most of these facts. Go to the website of the OSP. All of this is there. So who says there's been no outcome or little outcome? It's a lot of, I think, passionate talk, uninformed, not dispassionate to the facts available. And that's very surprising. Let's not forget. And when they talk about overlap of responsibilities and mandates, again, that's really surprising. So much effort went into making sure that there was no duplication between what the OSP was going to focus on and what the AGs would focus on. So the laws were rewritten to make sure that the demarcations were clear. Are they claiming that that was a poor job all of us did as a country? What are the overlaps? And finally, if the AGs is properly set up to do this, how come the AGs has not, what are the cases the AGs has handled recently that deal with politically exposed persons that they can mention? Let them provide the evidence that shows that historically, even the last 2 years, the AGs has done the kind of work that give us the assurance that moving this to the AGs to deliver the result. Let's not suddenly want to change systems for changing sake when there's no evidence backing what we are talking about. A lot of this is very speculative, not informed by the facts on the ground.
Adam, don't go yet. Let me bring in Noah Adamte, who is a private citizen. He's also filed a suit at the Supreme Court challenging the constitutionality of Parliament's setup of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Grateful for your time this morning. Why have you filed this suit at the Supreme Court?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. My position from the case is basically that under Article 88 of the Constitution gives the exclusive mandate to prosecute criminal offenses in Ghana to the Attorney General. Admittedly, the Constitution allows the Attorney General to authorize some other persons to prosecute criminal offenses. As the architecture of our Constitution suggests that any person that will prosecute criminal offenses in this country must be expressly authorized by the Attorney General, and that person can only prosecute those crimes on behalf of the Attorney General. So when you look at the OSP Act, there is an attempt to make the OSP an independent body, which is independent of the Attorney General and does not prosecute crimes on behalf of the Attorney General. And more importantly also, we know that the Office of the Attorney General is a ministerial office. And unless the Attorney General is removed by the President or through a vote of censure by Parliament, or the Attorney General resigns or dies, the AG's term of office is coterminous with that of the President. And so any new president that comes in and appoint a new AG, that AG must have a fresh discretion to appoint who he wants to appoint as some prosecutor, whether special or not, to exercise some form of that AG's powers. But the OSP is a permanent and durable institution that any AG that comes to power is bound to respect the existence of the OSP even if that AG does not want to share his prosecutorial mandate with the OSP. So putting these two issues together, I come to the conclusion that, in my view, the OSP is an unconstitutional establishment, unknown to our Constitution and not contemplated by the persons who drafted the Constitution. And so I'm basically inviting the Supreme Court to declare the OSP as unconstitutional. However, I admit in my writ that the OSP is a necessary institution. And if we want to maintain the OSP, we must do so through constitutional amendment that places the office within the Constitution and not through an act of Parliament, even as I recognize that Parliament does not have that mandate to, on its own, take portions of the AG's powers and give it to some other body. The AG is the only person that can do so. So that is the base of my rate before the Supreme Court.
So, Noah, are you seeking, in essence, for the office of the Special Prosecutor to be scrapped?
Yes. In this current establishment, how it has been established now, I am asking the court to declare it unconstitutional, which in effect means the office is abolished. And then the states must take the necessary steps to amend Article 88 to create the office properly so that the office will have constitutional support and can operate within the remit of our Constitution.
Noah Adamte, thank you very much. That's a private citizen who has filed a suit at the Supreme Court challenging the constitutionality of Parliament's setup of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Do I still have Edem Senanu on the line? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Edem, you've been listening to Noah, who has also joined the calls for the OSP to be scrapped. Of course, he says that he wants it to be re-established under the Constitution. Let me pick your thoughts briefly on that.
Well, I think that Noah has put out something we've all known. It's the most ideal situation was to have this established under the Constitution. Indeed, many of us in our recommendations to the Constitutional Review Committee have pointed out that the office needs to be established in the Constitution for all these doubts to be settled once and for all. However, I disagree with him when he says the thing is to abolish it and then go amending Article 88 and trying to properly set it up. All of us as citizens, we understood that the greater good, public good that we sought to achieve was that this is a work in progress. It's not the most ideal, but it's an iterative process of saying, what can we do in the meantime to stem the increasing levels of corruption and impunity we're seeing? So there's a sense in which Noah's interpretation was that allow the impunity to continue, do nothing about it, wait until you are able to do the constitutional change, and just let life go on. But many of us as divine practitioners and passionate patriots of this country, when we look into the future and we want this country to continue to exist with good governance, we're ready to embrace an interim situation, an interim solution, well thought through, which is what we have, as we work towards making the constitutional changes. And yes, let's all gun towards the constitutional amendments that can properly situate the Special Prosecutor's Office as one of the important tools in addressing the issues of corruption that we see in our country.
And in all of this, President John Dramani Mahama seems to have brought a finality to this. He spoke yesterday saying that he doesn't feel that the OSP should be abolished yet and that they should be given time to operate. Doesn't it bring to bed all these brouhahas?
But I would love to think that it would. But I suspect, Madame Okonjo-Iweala said to the former finance minister of Nigeria, who then became the head of the World Trade Organization, that when you fight corruption, corruption fights back. On the surface, it may seem that these are genuine, sincere citizens who want the best interest of the country. But for many of us, we understand that the more cases that the Special Prosecutor picks up, as long as those cases begin to step on the toes of business and political interest, they're going to have a lot of pushback.
Right.
So let's not be surprised at all. They've picked up a lot more very widespread cases. Currently, you're looking at the 30 OMCs and I think some fuel thing. That means a lot of business interests. And people will just say, oh, OSP is not good for business. Meanwhile, that's why we put them there, to stop the kind of impunity we've seen. So I would be delighted if the president's comments bring finality to some aspects of this. But I suspect that all of us need to support the office because it was set up intentionally to deal with high-profile issues with politically exposed persons who have a lot of influence. So they are not likely to stop trying to find every means, covert or otherwise, to distract the special prosecutor from doing his work and to undermine the will and the purposes that the Ghanaian citizenry have reposed in that office.
Adam Senano is an anti-corruption campaigner. Glad you could join us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk some politics now, because former Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia has expressed disappointment over the Electoral Commission's decision to schedule a rerun of the Pandai parliamentary election. He believes the move undermines Ghana's democratic institutions and ignores ongoing legal processes involving the new patriotic party's Matthew Nyindam. According to him, Matthew Nyindam has active appeals before both the High Court and Supreme Court, none of which has been resolved, and questioned why the EC is rushing in this instance.
The least very, very disappointed in what is going on in our country. It looks like our institutions of democracy and our tenets of democracy are being undermined. The issue of Pandai with Matthew Nyindam is not a new issue in our democratic politics. You've had issues with Dana Bodakpi, you've had issues with Teji Kweston, in Asin, and basically you've had the House allow the court and the legal processes to take place and be exhausted before state institutions are stampeded into acting in ways that undermine democracy. Matthew Nyindam should be given his day in court. He has filed appeal processes at the High Court. He has filed for a judicial review at the Supreme Court, and none of those cases has been adjudicated. So why the rush? Why the indecent haste? I think that he's being railroaded. I think that this undermines our institutions of democracy. I think that we should take a halt to these processes and allow him to have his day in court, just as others have done in the past. The House has never really rushed in this way when it came to the other cases. What is the difference with the case of Matthew Nyindam? I think it should not be this case. I think we should uphold the tenets of democracy. Democracy is something precious that we've all had and we've all subscribed to. When you start undermining its pillars, you break it down, and the consequences for the nation are very severe. And so simply because you have power, you shouldn't feel that you can ride roughshod over your opponents and over the principles of democracy. And so I stand with the principles that are being espoused by the minority in Parliament, and they are doing a good job at it, and we want to support all the principles that they are fighting over in this particular case.
That's former Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Meanwhile, the Electoral Commission has announced a rerun of the Pandai constituency parliamentary election scheduled for Tuesday, December 30th. A statement from the Electoral Commission reads, in the Tamale High Court's ruling on Monday, the 24th of November, ordering a rerun of the Pandai constituency parliamentary election within 30 days, and upon receipt of a letter from the clerk to Parliament on Tuesday, 9th of December, formally notifying the Commission of the occurrence of a vacancy in the membership of Parliament, the seat of the constituents in Parliament has been vacant. The Electoral Commission will therefore hold a rerun of the parliamentary election in the Pandai constituency on Tuesday, the 30th of December. The rerun of the Pandai constituency parliamentary election will be conducted for only the 3 candidates who contested the 2024 parliamentary election in the said constituency. So that's the brief statement from the Electoral Commission there. Let's take you to the courts now and bring you more stories from the court, because 5 individuals who identify as the immediate family of the late High Life legend Daddy Lumba have filed a writ at the High Court in Accra to prevent the release of his body without their consent. The court is expected to make a determination on this issue later today. And Fatau Bayaga, with our Legal Affairs Desk, is joining us on the line with more, but we'll be bringing you more after this break. Let's bring you more stories this morning because government has withdrawn the controversial lithium mining deal with Barari DV from the consideration of Parliament ahead of changing the laws relating to royalties. Under the current deal, which has since been withdrawn, the state would have been entitled to 5% royalties, which was severely criticized in the public. Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Yusuf Suleiman, explained that the deal was being withdrawn for further consultations.
Mr. Speaker, the reason for the withdrawal of this agreement is to enable the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to undertake further consultations with very relevant stakeholders prior to representing it to this very important House. Mr. Speaker, listening to my colleagues on the other side, they have made my work very easy. They have given reasons why there's a need for us to withdraw this agreement. He's saying that he's listened to very prominent people, he's listened to so many NGOs and civil society organizations, and they are all calling on us to do further works on this very important agreement.
Meanwhile, MPP MP for Okaikwe Central, Patrick Boama, has criticized the government for rushing to put the deal before Parliament despite long-standing concerns.
You've gone around to listen to experts in the industry. What did you do in the first place? You didn't consult anybody. You came here and we told you that you brought a wrong agreement that was not in the best interest of Ghana. And you said you had the numbers. So you passed. You passed it. We had our say. And you wanted your way. And you are back here to withdraw. Sule, why would you go with it if it's in the best interest of the country? We told you so.
But Majority Leader Mahama Yarga shot back, insisting the withdrawal will rather ensure that the country gets a better deal when it is subsequently returned to the House.
Why are we withdrawing this agreement? We are withdrawing this agreement because there is a proposal coming back to this House for us to review generally the royalties for our natural resources. For instance, as we speak, gold prices have soared, they are very high, but we are still collecting very low rates of royalties. So the proposal is to change and structure our entire royalties regime to be pegged to world market prices of the minerals.
Mahama Yarga is the Majority Leader in Parliament. Let's head to the seat of government now because President John Mahama has assented to the COVID-19 Health Recovery Levy Repeal Act 2025, bringing an end to the 1% levy placed on goods, services and imports during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. The President's assent on Wednesday afternoon paves the way for the repeal to take effect from January 2026. The repeal follows Parliament's approval last month as part of the government's efforts to eliminate what it described as nuisance taxes and ease the cost of living for livelihoods and businesses.
Purported to provide free water, free electricity, free food, and a lot of things. And to the shock of most Ghanaians after the pandemic was over and after the elections were over, government slapped Ghanaians with a 1% value-added tax, ostensibly to recover what it's supposed to have spent on the COVID pandemic. Ghana continued to remain one of the only countries where we're being taxed for a pandemic that had passed. And so during the election, we promised that when the NDC comes to power, the COVID levy is one of those who repeal. A lot of Ghanaians have disliked this tax, and today I'm pleased that on the 10th of December 2025, I've signed the repeal act to remove the 1% COVID levy.
The Ministry of Transport is deploying at least 8 buses on 4 major Accra routes during peak hours starting today to ease evening transport challenges. Routes include Accra, Medina, Adenta, Accra, Achimota, Amasaman, Accra, Malam, Kaswa, and Accra, Tema Beach Road. Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nikpe says this interim measure aims to improve safety and convenience for commuters.
4 major corridors that we are going to deploy a minimum of 8 buses to each of the corridors. We are working to ensure that we increase the number of buses such that we'll be able to pick all our commuters home safely. And those corridors are the Accra, Medina, Adenta corridor. They will have a minimum of 8 buses starting from today at 4:30 p.m. to 8:30. That will be the operational period. We also have Accra, Achimota, Amasaman. They will also have a minimum of 8 buses that will also start operations today from 4:30 to 8:30 in the evenings. We also have Accra, Malam, Kaswa route that will also have a minimum of 8 buses that will also start operations at peak hours from 4:30 to 8:30 p.m.
Meanwhile, the government has formally submitted to Parliament a bill to legalize commercial motorbike and tricycle operations, popularly known as Okada. The bill was laid by the Transport Minister, Joseph Bukari Nikpe. The proposed law seeks to amend the Road Act 2004, Act 683, to provide for the use of motorcycles, tricycles, quadricycles for commercial purposes. It will also facilitate the development of standards for seat belts, safety gears, and other required equipment, as well as make provisions for related regulatory matters. Listen to the Transport Minister on the floor of the House.
It also seeks to provide for the usage of motorcycles and tricycles for commercial purposes, for fare-paying activities. This will create jobs for our youth who are desirous to earn a living or have employment within the road transport sector. Again, Mr. Speaker, it also seeks to reduce age limit from 25 years to 21 years, those who are interested in having employment in the transport sector. All this is also determined to develop a standard in our transport system, especially our seat belts, our protective gears. This will bring about improvement in transport sector.
Well, by now you may know that government has withdrawn the controversial lithium mining deal with Barari DV from the consideration of Parliament ahead of changing the laws relating to royalties. So let's get more on this and bring in Pakwesi Shandov, who is the Media Relations Officer at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Pakwesi, the Deputy Transport Minister, speaking on the floor of Parliament, said that they are withdrawing this for further consultations and will relay it in Parliament at a later date. Do we know when this is going to happen? The Deputy Lands Minister, I mean.
Well, Kenneth, good morning to yourself and to the rest of our listeners across the globe. Like the Deputy Minister, Honorable Alhaji Yusuf Sulemana, indicated rightly, the essence of the withdrawal is to basically deepen stakeholder engagement. When the minister spoke to the press last week, actually, he also gave the same indication that we have gotten to a time where there are new developments. And therefore, in the light of those developments, we have to go back to the table and then cross all our T's and then dot all our I's in a more enhanced fashion. And that basically is the essence of this latest move. As to when that exercise will be concluded, we are unable to give a definitive period or duration. But you do have our words, and to the generality of the Ghanaian populace, that in no time, a more robust, firmed up, and beneficially constructed document to be put forward that would not only benefit the people of Ewoya and the investors, but indeed the generality of the Ghanaian populace.
The people of Ewoya are furious. They are angry, actually. I spoke to one of the chiefs of the area on Newsnight last night. He said they feel betrayed by government due to this withdrawal. They just want the deal to go through. What is government's word or assurance to the people of Ewoya who have waited for over 2 years for this deal to be ratified?
So for the locals, we do understand their concerns and we share in their sentiments. Indeed, if there is anybody who is most concerned about how they feel, it is the sector minister, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofibua. And that is why, effective immediately, we are beginning deepened local stakeholder engagements with the people so that they are able to understand and appreciate the fine and particulate details that have led to this current move. You see, Kenneth, the point a lot of people obviously have missed is that when it comes to the royalties allocation, there is the need for certain legal reformations that have to take place in order for the country to benefit at large, not only when it comes to lithium anyway, but for all of our mineral resources. These adjustments and these innovations will require a bit of time. And indeed, it is the investor who indicated to government that due to the fluctuating and volatile prices of lithium, there has to be a revision from the earlier agreement. All of this must be tabled and clearly explained to the locals, and that is what we are bent on doing. So yes, we share their sentiments. If there is any apology to render, we do that in maximum fashion. The minister is the one holding the front in that regard, but would engage them, like I indicated, and all of us would put our heads together and develop a more robust deal that would benefit all and sundry.
But Shandov, just an apology doesn't wash. It doesn't solve the issue. The lands, they say, have been confiscated due to this deal, which has truncated for a while. As we speak right now, are there any interim relief measures that government is putting in place to at least cushion them a bit while deliberations continue? Anything at all?
Well, relief measures cannot be decided in isolation. Neither can they be concluded upon in a vacuum, in the sense that government on its own, or the lands ministry and the lands minister, though having appreciated the issues, cannot get up today and say that, okay, we want to throw in XY intervention to, as it were, soothe their pain until the commencement of the operationalization of the concession. We can't do that unilaterally, and that is why we are proceeding to engage them, like I said, effectively, immediately. Look, when we all come to the table and then we sit and then we discuss on the matter, then we can now say that, okay, due to the stagnation that we have, born out of germane concerns, what we are now going to do is that we can consider ABC. We want to agree on whatever relief terms with them. And so, like I said, the engagements are going to start effective immediately. Okay. They would have their views, would all come to a formalized conclusion, and then we'll take it from there. So there is indeed a plan to, as it were, contain the situation until such a time that the mine starts running effectively.
Pakwesi Shandov, thank you. That's the Media Relations Officer at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with the latest in business. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, welcome back. I am Michelle Ejekum. Let's get into our business stories. The Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has launched the Nkabom Collaborative Project, marking a major milestone in efforts to transform Ghana's agri-food and nutrition ecosystem. As part of the launch, the project also inaugurated the Agri-Food Center of Excellence, established in partnership with the College of Agriculture and Natural Resources. There's more in this report.
The facility is expected to drive innovation, skills development, and industry partnerships across the agricultural value chain. Speaking at the ceremony, the director of the Nkabom Collaborative Secretariat at McGill University, Canada, Pierre Brunach Jr., underscored the scale of the initiative.
This Center of Excellence at the university is
a true example of how university understands the value of their contribution for food security in Ghana and across Africa. Artificial intelligence that involves precision farming, and the youth will be able to learn all this stuff here, especially in this center. The Incubum Collaborative, KNUST, the staff, the faculty will be doing experiential learning. We'll be teaching the youth and the entrepreneurs outside of the classroom. And this is why this is so important. And this is a memorable day in the history of KNUST and the history of Ghana.
Project lead Professor William Otu Ellis highlighted the importance of the initiative and the significance of the day.
We decided to launch the program today, which is a Farmers' Day, and it's very significant and unique in the sense that this is an agri-food project. That's for KNUST, our focus is on agri-food, and therefore we thought that because today is a special day for farmers, it's the best time that something concerning agri-food should be launched. The value chains within the agri-food sector is quite numerous, and therefore we believe that if we build capacities within this space, a lot more people, especially the young ones, would get opportunities within that space. And we hope that within the next 10 years, as we run this project, people's lives will be transformed. It's not only about individual lives, it also has impact on our communities.
The project seeks to harmonize education, research, innovation, entrepreneurship, and workforce development into a unified platform to address gaps between theory and practice. Vice Chancellor of KNUST, Professor Mrs. Rita Kusia-Dixon, reaffirmed the university's commitment to the initiative.
KNUST has long played a central role in shaping national and continental development through excellence in science, technology, innovation, and human capacity building. We won't stop. We will continue to do that. The two initiatives we are launching today reflect this enduring commitment as they speak directly to the urgent and emerging needs within Ghana's agri-food and nutrition sector. We pledge our utmost support to what this project stands for, and we will give it our all.
The initiative brings together 7 academic institutions, government agencies, industry partners, NGOs, and local communities to drive collaboration and high-impact outcomes. Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, Professor Fred Nemo, speaking on behalf of the Provost, commended the partnership and assured the faculty's full support for the implementation of the project.
Away from that, the Minerals Development Fund says enough seedlings are being nursed to restore vegetative cover to over 500 acres of land destroyed by mining in parts of the Ashanti region. Already, some acres of degraded land have been reclaimed by persons culpable for the destruction. Administrator of the fund, Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu-Kote, reveals the fund is committed to protecting lands restored by miners. Nana Yaujima has more in the following report.
Government has commenced an exercise to reclaim degraded lands and restore water bodies destroyed by activities of illegal miners. Through the Minerals Development Fund, persons who have illegally degraded lands and others legally undertaking operations are being made to restore the lands and their vegetation. Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisiu-Kote is administrator of MDF.
We've been able to, restore about 500 or more acres of land that has been destroyed. And we have close to 1,000 acres of seedlings that we are nursing together with logists. And we're encouraging miners, as you have your licenses and as you mine, we are in communication with them and encouraging them that when you dig, please cover. And then with logists, you can now start, planting, the phytoremediation of our lands.
In addressing the negative impact of illegal mining on the environment, the Minerals Development Fund has launched an environmentally sustainable mining initiative to reduce water and land degradation in small-scale mining. The MDF Modular Sustainable Mining 10K initiative employs green technologies, closed-loop water recycling, and mercury-free gold processing methods. In creating awareness about the destruction of the environment, the administrator of the fund led hundreds, including officers of the various security agencies, students from senior high schools, and other stakeholders in the Green Ghana Walk.
This initiative is part of the many attempts that we are making, to re-echo, to amplify the voice of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama that says he wants a green Ghana. He wants to wash Ghana green. He wants responsible mining. He wants us to restore our land. He wants us to restore our trees. And in so doing, we will have a greener future and we have a greener, Ghana for all of us.
For Joy News, Nana Ojima, Kumasi.
All for business. I'm Michelle Ejekum. The small business news when you log on to myjournalline.com. Ken?
Well, thank you very much, Michelle. That's how we wrap up this morning's bulletin of News Desk. My name is Kenneth Jesse. The news team returns at midday with News Today. Have a good morning.